Hello and welcome back to the backstage at VUX World at Voice22. I'm joined here by Chris Tankersley of Vonage. First of all, thank you for joining me, and thank you, Vonage, for helping make this happen for us. Really appreciate the support.
Thank you for having us.
No problem, no problem. Tell me a bit about yourself then, Chris. What do you do at Vonage?
Sure, so I'm on our developer relations team, specifically on integration. So I find ways to make it easier to work with Vonage with third parties and ways that we can make it easier for people to turn around and use other third parties.
Nice. Vonage is an interesting company because you kind of do everything.
Yes, yeah.
So for those that are interested in conversational AI, how does Vonage fit into the conversational AI picture? Like, what does it do in that space?
Yeah, so our biggest thing right now is we just came out with it's called Studio AI. It's a conversational flow builder, so you can use that with our text or our voice APIs to be able to drag and drop and build out your conversation designs without having to build anything, from scratch. But then that also leverages all the power of our HTTP APIs under the hood, so you can start off with those things and then call out to either bespoke applications or integrate with your SIP system and have us kind of be, man in the middle to do things. The big thing is a lot of our voice API power that we provide.
Nice. What are you seeing is the there's no doubt that conversational AI requires technical developers. What are you seeing when it comes to the conversational AI side? What kind of things are kind of developers that have never really done conversational AI? What are the first things that they need to kind of learn about creating something with conversational AI?
I think the biggest thing is being able to put together a coherent conversation with somebody, because there are so many branching possibilities. You kind of have to think about what are all of the answers that someone might give to provide a nice interface for that conversation. Because it's not just buttons on a page or anything like that. You need to be able to think like, how would you want to talk to somebody else? And what kind of information are you getting back out of that? So I think it takes a lot more design work than just sitting down and starting to write code.
Yeah. And the AI Studio is fantastic because it essentially hides a lot of that complexity, which means it enables access for those that are potentially not quite technically savvy. Where do you see the future of these tools going? Do you think that we'll be heading more towards low-code solutions, or do you think that actually we'll always need to do some degree of kind of technical development work here?
I think low code and no code is going to grow. We've especially seen that over the last couple of years, just internally, because you're getting a lot more people that are decision makers that want to be able to make changes to some of these applications that are either hard to describe to a developer, or they just need to be able to go and make some of these, like, especially with conversational UI, make those small tweaks over time where you can't go through the normal development flow. Because let's say, a normal development team's on a 2-week sprint, trying to schedule all that when it's like, well, I just need to change this prompt a little bit. Being able to give those, put the tools in the hands of people that can make those decisions is becoming one of the biggest things that we've seen that people want.
Yeah. Do you think that there is there any downsides to low code? Is there any areas where will always require some kind of technical help? Or do you think that, definitely I think low code to create more accessible tools so that more people can kind of, build and create and scale what you do kind of thing. Is there any potential sort of like, downsides to those low code tools or not?
Yeah, and I will fully say I'm biased as a developer who's done back-end coding for 25 years. I think there are things where those tools will get you kind of that 80% of the way, and most of the time, 80% is good enough. It's where sometimes you need to get into deeper integrations that you will have to drop down. So I think having the tools that will let you get that 80%, but then let you drop down when you need to, are going to be the most powerful, as opposed to just a full GUI situation where you can't make deep changes. And there's a lot of times where the low-code solutions might not have the integrations you want, and you need to bring in your own. So you need to be able to, write that code, but be able to integrate it nicely into those low-code solutions. So, like we've done a lot of stuff with Node-RED in the past, which is great because it's like you get that, nice visual builder, put in the tools you want or build your own and go from there. Our AI Studio is really nice for like some very complicated workflows. We've got a demo of basically a patient incoming with a digital assistant, and it's a hugely complicated graph when you go and look at it. But for people that understand that flow, they can do that, and then we can drop that off to whatever else from there. So I think there will always be a need for bespoke code, but a lot of these tools have matured to the point where you can do a lot with them and be able to get away with a lot.
Nice. Where do you think some of the kind of big opportunities are now in conversational AI? What kind of use cases are exciting you? Like, where are you seeing some real kind of activity and traction at the minute?
I think one of the big things we're seeing is like we have our new, we're working on a digital human with Ericsson. Being able to change up those interfaces and provide an interface that someone expects and wants with it, not just through a phone, not just through text. And as technology evolves, as devices change, being able to swap out that front end, and be able to keep that conversational back end, but change the mode at which we're dealing with the customer is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. What about the future? You mentioned digital humans there. Are we heading towards do you think digital humans are going to be a big part of the future?
I think it will be a part, just because it really depends on what people want. So I think for like younger generations, they're not used to face-to-face interaction. So to them, it probably doesn't matter as much. As you get to people my age and older, sometimes it's much more comfortable talking to a digital persona and being able to do things. And the technology is growing. Through Ericsson, we actually have a studio where you can get fully scanned in and get near photorealistic bots to talk to people. And a lot of times that gets people used to these technologies without the coldness of I'm talking to a computer screen, and it just like text is being blasted back out at me or whatever. So I think it'll be a part. But I hope that it doesn't become just like a de facto thing. Like it's something that's picked and chosen because it helps solve that problem.
Yeah, definitely. What are the things that are exciting you about the future of conversational AI? Whether that's related to Vonage and the AI studio, whether it's related generally speaking to the technology and how it's being used. Like, what are some of the things that you're kind of like really enthused about in terms of the future of conversational AI?
I think just kind of in general, I'm enthused just because over the last couple of years watching this, it does kind of feel like we're building the ship as we go. So we don't know where this will end up, and I think that's probably the most exciting thing. There's a lot of good use cases for this, and there's a lot of good that can come out of these tools, and just the stuff that I've seen like here. It's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have considered, which means that there's a lot of things that we can explore and a lot of possibilities that we can go down. So I think the unknown portion of it is probably the most exciting.
Nice. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.